I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Come on to the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we are on episode 64.
Hey.
And we got to watch Coco.
Yeah, which is really exciting. I'm sorry, though, really quickly. 64. And we've...
64, yes.
Have 75 episodes.
Yes.
We are 11 episodes away. That just hit me really suddenly, and I was like, oh my God. 11 episodes?
And next week it'll be 10.
Oh my God.
And the week after that it'll be 9. And it's pretty much doing a countdown now.
This is awesome.
The final countdown.
Do. No, I just like that. It just hit me when I was like, oh my God, 64. First of all, I'm very proud of us for having done 64 episodes. But the fact that we only have 11 left on our first season is kind of insane.
I am never upset to have to watch.
But you don't watch often.
But I don't watch often because I know I will be upset by the end of it.
Yeah. Oh, I cried so hard. This was my second time seeing this movie. The first time...
This is your second time seeing this movie ever?
Ever. Yeah.
I at least have watched it maybe half dozen times.
Really?
Yeah.
I just...
Even though it hurts, I love watching it.
See, that's just
doesn't hurt as much as...
When I want to cry at a movie, I'm putting on the last hour of Endgame. Or, I'm watching Pride and Prejudice or something. Like, my ugly cry movies are different. I never think of Coco because Coco hurts a little bit too much.
Wild Robot now.
Wild Robot, fuck.
I don't think a movie has made me cry more than Wild Robot.
Yeah, is that's your peak?
I think that's my peak. Cry.
I mean... I cried pretty goddamn hard at Wild Robot.
Coco's one.
Yeah.
Of course, Up and Inside Out.
Yeah. We haven't watched Inside Out 2 yet, mainly because I'm just sort of...
Scared.
Yeah, a little scared. But Coco... I don't know. Coco falls in the line of, what I feel is, the last great Pixar film for a while.
It kind of has been.
And... Pixar films at this point are really just, how do we make Maggie ugly cry and then be left so devastated that she's a shell of herself for a few hours? And I think I've mentioned this during when we talked about Up and Toy Story 3 and all those. I can't do it as much anymore, I can't cry as hard as I cried during Coco and then just go on with life and just live the rest of the day. The movies have become emotional torture porn, and I just can't do it as much. Also the quality's gone down, but still, it's hard. It's hard for me.
It seems like whenever they do 2 movies in a year, one gets a lot of good attention, the other one kind of gets left behind. Like Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur came out the same year.
Yeah, but The Good Dinosaur wasn't that good.
It's fine. But once again, before that, most Pixar movies were hit after hit after hit after hit. Cars 2 was the exception in the early 10. No other movie came out when Cars 2 came out. So
yeah, but we didn't need a Cars 2.
No, we did not.
I love Cars.
However, it did make almost 3 times its budget back, even though it was not a hit critically. Kids loved Cars 2 because kids love Nader.
Yeah,
and Nader got to be a spy.
Yeah.
And it was dumb.
It was so dumb.
Whereas, the first one adults really loved because it brought us that nostalgia.
The first
Cars. Especially people who know Route 66.
Shit on Cars all the time. In fact, a lady just recently in Philadelphia actually shit on a car.
That happened. Yeah.
the Delco dumper. Adults want to hate on Cars. People always Cars is the worst Pixar movie, and I'm like, it's not. The first Cars is a perfect film, and every time fucking James Taylor is singing about Route 66 and Bonnie Hunt, Forever a Queen, is giving her beautiful speech, it destroys me. So yeah, I love Cars. Pixar movies are just made to make me cry, but at a certain point now I can't do it as readily. I don't want to do it as much because I just can't recover from it as quickly anymore.
Cars 3 and Coco came out the same year.
We haven't even seen Cars 3.
No. Onward and Soul came out the same year.
Both of those movies, well, that was a pandemic thing too, because they released pretty much straight to Disney Plus.
Turning Red and Lightyear were also same year releases.
Yeah, no, and both those movies. I mean, the fact that Lightyear made me cry as hard as it did. Lightyear was decent. Lightyear was a movie that should have come out 10 years earlier, but they didn't have the ability to, if that makes any sense. I enjoyed it. Turning Red was a really sweet, cute, funny little film. And I only saw it once, and I really should rewatch it because I like that one a lot. I don't think I'd ever watch Onward or Soul again. So
I'd like to watch both of those one more time and just
give them another chance.
Give another chance,
yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. Both of those films, I was like, at this point, it's emotionally manipulative. Like, they're doing it on purpose.
Well, like I said, Coco was released in 2017. It was directed by Lee Unkrich, who we've talked about many times.
Yeah.
Co-directed Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo. He got to direct Toy Story 3 by himself, but then co-directed Coco with Adrian Molina. Adrian Molina worked for Pixar for 10 years as a punch-up screenwriter, taking existing scripts and just giving them a little extra, punch up the dialogue, make it sound more human, or whatever needs to be done to make it seem or flow better, whatever they're looking for. So that's what he did, and him and Lee Unkrich directed Coco. It was written by Lee Unkrich as well, along with Matthew Aldrich, who wrote a film called Spinning Man from 2018 and Cleaner from 2007, but that was about it. He wrote some additional material for the Pixar film The Good Dinosaur, but that's essentially all his screenwriting. Then Jason Katz also worked on Coco, worked as an artist for Pixar ever since Toy Story, but this is his only writing credit. So
Pixar brings in from within.
Yeah, they work within their...
I think they also wanted to have somebody Hispanic working on the direction of this film because this film is so rooted in Hispanic culture.
Yes, Lee Unkrich himself has said that he purposely hired people with the Hispanic voice who could speak about Dia de los Muertos and
the culture,
all the culture and all the music and everything. It was it all culminates into this really beautiful story, and I mean, Mexican culture is such a beautiful culture.
Beautiful. I know. I just simply adore Mexico. From their food to their music to the people, like I have such
their artwork.
I mean, I've loved Frida Kahlo for years.
The Mexican film is great.
No, it's a fantastic culture, and living in Southern California, we got a really good love and appreciation for Hispanic culture, and I just I think it's lovely. I think it's beautiful. I very well may mispronounce some words here and there because I did not take Spanish and I'm not good at the Spanish accent.
I took Spanish a long time ago.
But yeah, no, I have nothing but the highest and the deepest respect for Mexico and its people. I think it's a beautiful place and I would love to go back. But, time and money, really.
It's been since 2004?
Yeah, same for me, 2004.
I went?
Yeah.
But we didn't go together.
No. Oh, did I go in 2005? Yeah, I went in 2005. I went to Switzerland in 2004. And then the same month, a year later, I was in Mexico. I was floating in the Sea of Cortez.
Sea of Cortez in San Felipe.
Yeah, just absolutely.
And it's funny that we both went through the same town.
Yeah, San Felipe.
And then, but I had been there. That was my last trip.
Yeah.
Was through San Felipe. My previous trips were on the west coast of Baja California. Mm-hmm. And
I've only been to Baja. I haven't even been
to the main.
I want to go see the Yucatan so badly.
I want
to go see the Mayan ruins. I want to go see.
I just want to go to Mexico City and get some street food.
Oh God, I know.
That's been my Like, I just want to plain land,
Yeah.
step out into Mexico City,
Yeah.
spend like a solid 24, 48 hours just going through the city, eating food, digesting culture.
Well, I would say that we need to get Duolingo so that we can start working on our Spanish. But since they've decided to fire all of their human workers and replace them with AI, I don't think that particular app's going to be around that much longer. So, but, there's always YouTube.
Next, the composer was Michael Giacchino.
One of our all-time favorites.
Everybody here, I think, now knows how we feel about Michael Giacchino.
He's the GOAT. We love him so.
Yeah, I mean, he's the music behind the Star Trek's franchise, the new Star Treks, the new Planet of the Apes, the,
Lost.
Batman.
Rogue One, for God's sakes, he directed Werewolf by Night. Like, he is just nerd extraordinaire, and we adore him to no end.
And, and plus this isn't his first or last Pixar film.
Nope, he's done a ton of them.
You got The Incredibles, and we've got Ratatouille, Up, he did Cars 2, and Inside Out, and Coco, of course. That's why we're talking about him. Then he went on, of course, he did Incredibles 2, which they're making an Incredibles 3, which is supposed to be... It has no release date yet.
Mm-hmm.
They also have not announced if Michael Giacchino or Brad Bird are coming back for it. And I'm like, if both of those guys...
Yeah, no, they're...
Or else there is no Incredibles 3 in my mind.
Also, he's doing the music for the Fantastic Four, which what snippets I've heard is fantastic. So I'm very excited. I love him so.
He also did Lightyear, which was his last Pixar film.
Yeah, that music was pretty legit. He has so many fun. Like he's really clever with his pun names.
Yes, his pun names for his
songs are always great.
Very humorous. The stuff he did for Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah, even though Lucasfilms insisted that the Rogue One soundtrack have normal names, he did put out the list of the goofy sort of pun titles, and I will never forget It Takes One to Rogue One. That it's just it makes me so excited. I mean, I'm even looking up the Coco soundtrack titles, and it's like Will He Shoemaker, A Shrine and Dash, just the Strum of Destiny. It's all relative. Like, it's just the way that man pulls out little puns continuously cracks me up. I adore him so much. I wish I could shake his hand and just gush all over him because
one day,
because
he'll come on the show.
Oh my God, would he?
Michael Giacchino, this is an open invitation.
Yeah, we have nothing to give you but love. So
you can email us at movieminglepod@gmail.com.
We would love to hear from you.
Harley Jessup was the production designer. He was the production designer for 4 episodes of Sesame Street between 1973 and 1985. He also worked on James and the Giant Peach, Monsters, Inc., Ratatouille, Cars 2, and The Good Dinosaur. Yeah, production designer... kind of similar as a cinematographer, but not really. In live action, production designer is just like dressing the scene, or not even a set dresser. Like designing, they design the scene. They design how the buildings are going to look and how how the scene is going to look. And when it comes to animation, production designer and a art director are kind of the two people who are like designing what the cinematography of the film is going to look like.
Well, we did talk recently as I was, goofy and being like, I could be a cinematographer. Blah, 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 blah. But we did talk recently about how, cinematography and animation is always going to be perfect. Yeah. And that does come down to
your imagination, essentially. What you can
create, what the director's vision is.
With your director's vision, but, trying to get it instilled into the artists.
And the cinematography and the art direction and the everything in this movie is breathtaking.
It's probably one of their best.
That scene where you see the City of the Dead for the first time, just...
that first time was really pretty, and then, like, as they're traveling through it, especially with the tram going through the city, and it's just back there.
Oh, it's so fucking pretty.
And that's not just something that you have to go in and like design all those little buildings and details in the background.
And and
then it's just in the background.
Yeah.
But
that
it's still,
city was based on an actual mountain city in Mexico, with all the colorful buildings kind of like built into the mountain, and and kind of like all sort of stacked on top of each other. And I just, and that's kind of another beautiful representation of Mexican culture, is all those really colorful buildings and, the kind of cluttered houses together, the streets, all of that. Like, it's just so fucking pretty. This movie is made with such love.
Another part, going back to the music, one of my favorite things that I watched not long after Coco came out was they released this video of the Hollywood Bowl concert. They had a concert at Hollywood Bowl. Coco did.
Yeah.
And it was all the actors, singers,
Dancers,
musicians who had worked on the film came in for a night, and they just
put on a concert.
And it was so good.
I would like to rewatch that.
It was so good. I think it's on Disney Plus.
Yes, it is. They also did one of those for Encanto, and watching Stephanie Batiste. God, is that her last name? Stephanie. The Rosa from from
Encanto.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Watching her perform that first song and just how fast she can do it was so entertaining. And then like when Luisa was singing her song about being under pressure, they had a bunch of like people in donkey unicorn costumes like dancing around her. Anyways, it's the same level of sweet and funny and beautiful.
Yeah, they put on a great show and a concert at the same time.
I would
and
love to.
if you like the music of either Coco or Encanto,
now see,
they're very, very good.
If I want to watch an animated movie that I know is going to make me ugly cry, but I feel like I can bounce back from easily, it's Encanto. That truly has become one of my favorite Disney films since it came out. I've watched it numerous times. I listen to the music a lot. Like it's so
great
good.
Music. They're both.
Yeah. So I wouldn't watch Coco a lot, but I'll watch Encanto a lot, and it makes me cry almost as hard, but for different reasons. No. I wonder, too, if this movie doesn't kind of hit you in the feels because you are a father.
Well, I'm sure that's why.
I mean, obviously, like, as a mother, like, The Wild Robot just devastated me. But
the idea of one day your children could forget you.
Yeah.
Or one day everybody that ever knew you is now dead as well. So now
they're all going to forget you sometime.
The memory of you is now completely gone.
Yeah.
Unless you are lucky enough to be remembered in history or famous or
art
whatever,
or whatever,
art or whatever it be, literature. Once every person on Earth who knew you is dead,
so goes your memory.
So goes the memory of you, and whatever you may have left on the Earth is all that's left if you left anything on Earth.
Yeah,
and it's just it's one of those like, oh, okay, but that's like way future.
Yeah.
That's like hundreds of years.
That is weird that we have to know that.
But Coco was his daughter. Wasn't like Coco was his great-great-granddaughter.
Coco was his daughter.
It was his daughter, and because of him being ostracized from the family, even though it wasn't his fault, nobody knew him. Everybody who grew up after Coco never met him.
Yeah.
And so Coco was the last relative to know, just the idea of my kids not remembering me.
Yeah, it hurts.
It does.
Fuck, it hurts in a special way.
When I'm gone, remember me. Rotten Tomatoes has Coco at a 97% from critics.
Yep.
Which is such a high animated. Like, a lot of animation doesn't get that high.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And 94% from audiences. The fact that audiences was lower than critics for an animated film is also kind of rare. Letterboxd gave it 4.1 out of 5, Metascore of 81, and an 8.4 on IMDb. which some of those are low, which is why it comes out to an average score of 88%. I think everybody's on crack, and Rotten Tomatoes had it correct.
Oh, I just pulled up like
9% difference between the average and what critics had on Rotten Tomatoes.
So I just pulled up the best 100 best computer animated movies ranked on the Tomato Meter. Toy Story 2 is at number 1 with 100%. Toy Story is number 2, if that makes any sense. Toy Story 2 is number 1. Toy Story 1 is number 2, both with 100%.
Wow.
Finding Nemo at 99. How to Train Your Dragon at 99. Inside Out at 98. Toy Story 3 at 98. Zootopia, Up are both at 98. Toy Story 4 is at 97.
Ew.
Oh.
No. Get out of here.
Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse is at a 97. Coco's at a 97. Incredibles, The Mitchells versus the Machines are also there at 97. I'm not going to go all the way down the list, but I will say The Wild Robot is at 96, and The Lego Movie is also at 96, and that rounds out all 15. So the top 15. So
those are a great top 15.
That's a great top 15
except
with
for Toy Story 4.
Yeah, which I've not watched and won't watch. I just don't care. I just don't care.
Don't bother. No.
Like, it should have ended at the third one.
I still haven't finished it. Half of
Heartwarming, funny, and beautifully animated, Toy Story 4 manages the unlikely feat of extending and perhaps concluding a particularly perfect animated saga. That was the general consensus for Toy Story 4.
No, Toy Story 3 did a great job of ending the entire...
Yeah, but this talks about extending.
we don't need an extension.
No.
There was Toy Story 3 was already extending it because they were going outside Andy's house to a different owner. And you know what? Screw them.
Yeah. Well, we all have our opinions and our subjective.
No, they're wrong.
I mean, the top 10, being Spider-Verse, Toy Story 4, Up, Zootopia, Toy Story 3, Inside Out, How to Train Your Dragon, Finding Nemo, Toy Story, and Toy Story 2. The fact that 4 of those are a Toy Story film is pretty impressive, and the fact that only 2 of them are not Disney films.
Only 2 of the 15?
Of the top 10.
Oh, 2 of the top 10 are not.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon and Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse,
yeah.
Gotcha.
What's interesting, too, is the audience score on most of these is fairly high as well. Even Toy Story 4 got a 94 popcorn bucket. I don't know what that means exactly. Coco was number 11. It also got a 94.
94 out of 100.
Yeah.
Popcorn meter.
Yeah, it was but the popcorn meter is like the how the general public reacts to it, right?
Yeah, but
like
the popcorn bucket is like like critics get the fresh tomato.
Yeah.
Audiences get a popcorn bucket.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if it's on its side and empty and green and ugly, then it's
The Incredibles.
Terrible movie.
Got a 97% on the tomato meter and a 75%.
Gross. Those people are gross and they can't be on Rotten Tomatoes anymore. Anyway, we should move on because
we could get lost in the sauce of this one.
So something interesting I want to talk about was first that Coco was made for $175 million.
It shows.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
$175 million because what was it? Iron Giant. It was less than 100.
Mm-hmm.
It might even been less than 80, but I don't remember. It's okay. But my point is 175 is a lot of money. But it's interesting that it got the same budget as Cars 3, which was kind of like that we just released Cars 2 and it was critically not favored.
No, it was a bit of a flop.
But it wasn't a flop.
No, it was critically a flop.
But financially did very well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough of like they put $200 million into Cars 2.
Yeah.
And then dropped that down to 175 for Cars 3.
Mm-hmm.
Before Cars 3 was Finding Dory. Finding Dory got $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also a sequel and a sure thing pretty much.
Yeah.
Give it $200 million.
Yeah.
So before that, we have The Good Dinosaur, which is not an original... which was an original idea for Pixar, and got at least 187.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So in between 175 and 200, it was like right in the middle. After Coco, Incredibles 2 got 200 million.
Mm-hmm.
Toy Story 4 got 200 million. and even Onward, which was an original idea and not a sequel like Toy Story 4 and Incredibles 2, also got $200 million. And so Coco and Cars 3 are over here, all by, Coco gets the same budget as a movie about a car, and both at 175. And I'm like, why? I wonder why they didn't give Coco that extra 25. I know that Coco has they're not spending as much on the cast.
Yeah.
That's for sure, because on Incredibles 2 and Finding Dory and Cars 3, you are
and Onward, and I mean a lot of these have
Toy
big
Story
name
4,
casts.
they have big name casts, but it's just the Good Dinosaur got more, and it has no voices, right?
I mean, I can't speak for how the financial office at Pixar works. I guess that would be a good question for them. We could just call them up and ask, hey, we have a podcast. We have a question for you. I wonder if maybe it's not that they're given a budget. Maybe they're given a budget that they're like, look, you can have up to this much money to make this. Like, say they went to Coco and they said, hey, Lee, you have up to $200 million to make this. If you can make it for less and make it great, then fantastic. Please do that. But if you can't, I wonder if it's more of a see how much it takes and then it gets the budget versus here's your set budget and you have to adhere to it. Like
I can
most
see them
movies,
getting a set budget and having to
adhere to it. I don't know. Maybe
for animation.
Maybe it's you have a set budget, but if you could make it for less, that's great. It's hard to say why. I mean, we would have to ask Lee or the financial office, the CFO of Pixar, and be like, how does it break down there? Why did The Good Dinosaur get this much and Coco got that much or whatever? Like, is it the cast? Is it, it's kind of hard. It's hard to say.
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to point my finger at them and being like,
how dare you?
Why didn't you give Coco more money?
I never thought of it in that aspect. Like, you're very curious and you're like, well, why? And
yeah, it's just like all the movies before it and all the movies after it are getting 200.
But
with the exception of The Good Dinosaur.
Look at what this movie did versus some of the other movies that got more of a budget.
And that's what I wanted to say. Like, it made only 210 domestically, which is a lot.
Yeah,
that's great.
Dollars? Just $210?
Yes, $210.
Oh wow.
No, 210 million, and then it did 604 million internationally.
Dude, it is one of the highest grossing films in Mexico of all time.
And then this movie came out in 2017, and we've had a lot of conversations about these other movies that came out like between 2000 and 2010 when DVD and Blu-ray sales were like really
they were there.
And then we got, the closer you get to the 2020s, it started to fade down, and obviously COVID and the rise or the force of the rise of streaming services really has killed the physical media.
Which, I mean, again, is a fucking shame, because if they take it off of streaming and you don't have a physical copy, you can't watch it.
You can't watch it anymore.
Like, and the physical copy, I mean, what is a DVD these days? Like, $30.
Like,
what does a banana cost these days?
Did you say 30?
Yeah. I gotta imagine, right? They're probably in the $30 range. Most like Blu-rays or DVDs.
A DVD is like $10.
Yeah. Okay, so Blu-ray,
And most for now they finally stopped putting DVDs in with Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Now it's either Blu-ray by itself or Blu-ray 4K combo. 4K is usually close, like 28.
Yeah.
Blu-ray is only 25 or less, sometimes 20.
Yeah.
Like, they're still pretty cheap.
I just think if you love the movie,
oh yeah,
buy the fucking
movie.
Blu-ray. Yeah. Like, don't buy it on streaming.
You're just like, I'll just watch it when it's streaming.
Yeah, or I'll just buy it on streaming, which is something else I don't trust. Like, we've got a particular, library of streaming movies that we own on Amazon, but like, do we get to keep those forever?
Yeah,
Are those going to disappear one day?
Just because I paid for them, I don't believe that they belong to me. Like, same thing with, I don't think it's on the new Xbox, but on the old Xbox, I have movies on the hard drive of that Xbox. It's not through a streaming service. It's on the hard drive, and I paid for those movies.
Yeah.
But they're only on that hard drive now.
Yeah.
And if that hard drive goes, those movies are gone.
Yeah.
It made an extra $86 million in home media sales.
Damn. Yeah, of course it did. I mean, this movie made money.
$900 million.
Yeah.
Total. Just shy of $1 billion, and that is fantastic for a Pixar film based around a non-American culture, for sure.
Which then again goes to prove that if you tell stories that are not from the point of view of cis white American men, they will make money.
Cis white American men will not go see those movies.
You did.
Oh, wait. Damn it. Caught me.
But, look at how much money Black Panther made. Look at how much money Sinners is making right now. I mean, everybody deserves to see themselves as the hero of a movie or of a film. Every culture, every person deserves to see themselves on that big screen and think, that person looks like me. That person sounds like me. I could be that hero. And you see it time and time and time again with Wonder Woman, with Moana, with Barbie, with, all of these different films that are not just cis white American men. And yet every time they make money, people are like, oh, well, look at how much money it is. Isn't this a shock? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, people are upset about...
Here's the sequel, and then they make it for the wrong reasons, and they got the wrong point. They learned the wrong lesson.
People are upset about how much... I want to say Raylan Givens. I know
Raylan Coogler?
Thank you. Everybody is so up in arms, or there's a certain aspect of the internet that's so up in arms about Ryan Coogler and how much he's making and the deal that he got for Sinners. He's not the first director to get that deal, but everybody's all of a sudden upset that he's getting it because he's a black man. This man has made over $2 billion for the global box office.
They're acting as if he got it because he's a black man.
Yeah.
Even though he got it because he's
an incredible filmmaker who makes great movies.
He made Disney $1 billion.
Yeah, a couple billion. He's made Disney a couple billion.
That's true because Wakanda Forever also made
a lot of money.
And Creed made a lot of money.
Yeah. By the way,
but this is a director who has consistently shown that he can make a
great film.
A great film. And so when it came to Sinners, it being not a huge Marvel franchise movie, or based off of another franchise.
It was a wonderful,
it was a
not independent, but it was an original idea.
So of course it was easy for the studio to be like, sure, here's some money. You're a great director. Thanks for making those studios a lot of money.
Yeah, make us a lot of money.
And
he is.
And he's like, well, I want this deal. And they're like, fine, because it's a little vampire movie.
Which, by the way, I was listening to the Shutter Island episode, and in that particular episode, I was talking about how, oh, God, fine, I guess I'll go see Sinners. It's not really my thing, but I'll go see it. We'll see if I saw it, and I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it. That movie is incredible. It's flawless, and we have to do a bonus episode on it when it comes out. That film is so goddamn good. And yeah, I watched the trailer and went, nah, absolutely not. But it took my lovely husband going, I know you and I know you'll love this. And it took enough of my friends being like, this movie's amazing, for me to go, fine, I'll go see it. And then I walked out of that theater just floating. That was one of the greatest films I've ever seen on the big screen. Such a good time.
I'm so glad I saw it twice, and I'm glad I got to see it both times in IMAX.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see it again.
It was great.
Because I feel like I missed a lot, but fuck, that movie. Michael B. Jordan.
That on 4K.
Oh, God, yeah, we are.
So Coco stars. First, Anthony Gonzalez plays Miguel, our main character, our protagonist, he's
such a sweet little boy
who just wants to play his guitar,
wants to play music,
and be like his hero, another guitar player. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, his family, but especially his grandmother, is very anti-music because her grandmother hated music. Yes. The one who started it all, because her husband
left the family to be a musician.
Left her alone with a daughter. She decided, fuck that. I'm gonna learn how to make shoes and then start my own business because it's become successful, and ropes the whole family into it, down to her great grandson.
I absolutely love that the background of the story is told through the papel picado. which is those really colorful paper banners that you see hanging up during Mexican celebrations. And so when we learn about, Mama Malda and baby Coco being left by, the father,
Yes.
it's all told through those paper
like
decorations.
paper mache, but not really mache.
No, it's not mache. They're like paper flags that are like, it's like when you cut a snowflake out of paper, right? And you fold it
That's
and
right.
cut it.
That's the
Yeah.
it's like folding paper and cutting it and
Yes.
making the.
And they're called
beautiful.
papel picado, which again, I will probably be butchering. I took German for 2 years in high school, and it has helped me none. 9.
Not even Switzerland?
Everyone in Switzerland speaks English, and I only had one very stilted actually 2 very stilted conversations with people that didn't speak English, one of them being Jesse's granddad, and the other one being a woman in a shop, and I managed to get through both of them with my very limited German, and their very limited English. So, I mean, most of the time, granddad and I would either talk through Jesse's mom or Jesse, or he would, like, shuffle up to me and point and go, I am hungry. And I'd be like, sehr gut, Grandpa, sehr gut, Papa. Like, great job. Or I would speak very limited German to him, and he'd be like, ha, ha, ha. He was a very sweet man. But yeah, no, learning German has helped me 9. That's not even the correct way to say it.
I was like, learning German has helped me. No. Okay.
None whatsoever.
All right. That's very obvious. But no, I do know that, like, you may not speak it much, but I know that when somebody's speaking it,
I can hear it.
You
better
can
than I
hear
can speak
words being spoken
Yeah.
and be like, oh, I know what he said.
Yeah.
Basically.
Which
Maybe
is
not
weird.
word to word, but you know what the sentence contains. Generally.
And that's kind of how my ear for languages works, because I'm not great at other languages. Some people are. I am not. I've tried to go back and relearn German. I have dabbled a little bit with Spanish. I should have. The only reason I didn't take Spanish in high school is because our Spanish teacher was a cunt. And people ahead of time were like, she sucks. She is a straight up monster. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that to myself. If she had been a nicer teacher, I probably would have taken Spanish, but she was absolutely horrific. And I never really liked the idea of French, and both my brothers took German, so that's why I took German. I do regret it. I feel like Spanish would have helped me a lot more, but, here we are.
Yeah, I took Spanish in elementary school, which...
I mean, that's the time to learn another language, is when your
Right.
brain is soft and squishy.
Which is funny because kids now don't seem to be learning other languages until high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
At least our kids, the first opportunity was high school.
Yeah, that's kind of typically the way to do it, though. That's how it's
Well,
done.
I know, but I was in elementary school when I started learning like 4th grade.
Yeah,
my first Spanish.
You also went to a Christian school in Southern California.
I guess they're
They were-
more advanced than public schools.
That, or they just wanted you to learn the language so they could send you on missions down there.
Oh no, that's absolutely
Yeah.
probably. I mean, yeah.
They're like, you need to spread the word to these poor folk down
Heathens
there.
Down there.
So
Who already.
yeah,
Like-
it's a
like
very Christian culture.
Yeah, it's very Christian culture.
But
But not our God. Like, our Christian God is different.
because he's white, blue eyes, and blonde hair. That's our Christian God. Anyways, back to the young man, Anthony Gonzalez, who played
Anthony
Miguel.
Gonzalez.
He hasn't done a lot of other things.
No, he was absolutely a hoot to see on that
The live action
Hollywood
thing.
Bowl live.
Didn't
that
they
live
have his
performance.
brother come in and perform the songs because he had already, or was he the brother? I remember there's a story, and forgive me for not knowing it correctly off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure at the Hollywood Bowl, his brother is the one who's singing all of Miguel's songs because at that point Anthony had gone through puberty and couldn't get the lower, the higher range anymore. So I think that it's his little brother that actually performs those songs.
Well, he nailed it just as good as his brother did because runs in the family.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's had bit parts on TV shows, movies, even some video games. Just he's a little kid actor that that's probably not even little anymore.
No.
He's probably
He is a very, he's not a grown-ass man because he's still, he's 20 years old. Oh my God, he's still an infant.
he is 20 years old. He can't even drink yet.
It looks like he has. He might also be working on his own original music and whatnot because he's got an Instagram post from 2 weeks ago about his. Has some songs that he's got coming out, so I'll definitely check him out. He's a very handsome young man. He is a young man. He is a child at 20.
At 20, he's still baby. Next, we have Gael Garcia Bernal.
Oh my god! And to quote Roger from American Dad, "You wouldn't let me get that Gael Garcia Bernal poster. He has green eyes and he's Latin. I need it." This man is an incredible actor, and he is so handsome. And I haven't seen a lot of his stuff.
I haven't seen a lot. Of course, we saw
Werewolf by Night. Which he was delightful in, and I would love to see more of that character.
Jack Russell or the werewolf.
Jack Russell's such a Like, it totally makes sense that they would name their werewolf character Jack Russell
in a comic book.
In a comic book, but when you kind of like
when it comes to reality into a film with actual like drama,
really.
And this guy's name is Jack Russell.
Really? But I want to see Jack Russell and Mark Spector and Pedro and Reed Richards all kind of hang out with each other. I want to see.
So random.
Yeah.
All the random characters.
Well, no, because I want to see all the Hispanic Marvel actors.
You want what you get to see in Disney Dreamlight, where all these random people are just
I want
congregating
that so
in the corner.
Like while the Beast and Mother Gothel and Wally are hanging out, and I'm running by with R2-D2 following me. Like, yeah. But look, they're all Marvel characters. They're all Hispanic actors. It's important and beautiful that they're all there, and I want to see them together. I don't get to see fucking Poe Dameron and Din Djarin and Cassian Andor together in Star Wars as much as I want to see a scene with all three of those men together. I don't get to. So give it to me, Marvel. Gael famously was in Y Tu Mama
Tambien.
Y Tu Mama Tambien, which I remember watching and being like, oh, I'm going to see something hot. And then I watched it and I was like, this was not that hot. I wasn't 100% sure. Like, everybody's like, oh, the threesome in that movie. And I'm like, did I miss it? Did I just, like, fall asleep during that part? I might have to rewatch it.
I think he's most notably probably for Mozart in the Jungle.
That was a huge hit.
Big hit.
And I never watched it.
Big hit.
He did do a couple.
I mean, this is 4 years of television he was on.
It was on Prime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He did do a couple, like, rom-coms. Like, he's in one with Kate Hudson called A Little Bit of Heaven, which I would be curious to watch just for him because he is so cute and so sweet. You know, he's a great actor. He was in Old as well, which you saw, right?
I
M. Night Shyamalan.
I keep seeing it, and I think I started it once.
And never got around to the twist.
Asleep. Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But, it's on my list, but it's kind of down
Did
there.
you watch The Mother, that Jennifer Lopez, like, action film on Netflix? Because apparently he was in that, too.
The Mother. No, I did not watch that one either. He's
in a film coming out sometime this year called Holland with Nicole Kidman and Matthew McFadden. I'm going to have to watch that film for the cast alone because, goddamn. Apparently, it's an American psychological thriller about a woman's picture-perfect life in quaint Holland, Michigan as it crumbles around her. But, I mean, Nicole Kidman, Matthew McFadden, and Gael Garcia Bernal, like, sign a girl up. Oh, my God. Even though I don't care much for Nicole Kidman anymore. I don't know. She's just sort of there all the time. But Matthew McFadden, forever my love.
Next, we've got Benjamin Bratt.
I adore Benjamin Bratt so much. I think he is just so darling. I have always loved him.
I mean, his Law and Order years.
Yeah, his Law and Order years were great.
Traffic was a massive film.
Honestly, he was fantastic in Doctor Strange, and they just let that die.
Yeah,
like,
they did. Oh, man, could you imagine if he just randomly comes back somehow?
Well, I mean, technically, I guess, what's-his-face took his power from him.
His power away.
But I would like to see him come back.
But he didn't die.
No.
And somebody could give him his power back, or an alternate version of that character comes back. Not that he will. Just saying.
You never know.
They just the random past characters. They're just like, you get to be in this.
And here's this person. You're like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. That guy.
Yeah. Benjamin Bratt is great. So, Caveman.
Yes.
Who plays Bail Organa in Star Wars?
Jimmy Smits.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Smits was unable to reprise his role in season 2 of Andor, so they replaced him with Benjamin Bratt. And that little scene, spoilers for Andor, in the last set of episodes where fucking Luthen and his psycho lady partner, whose name I don't know, but she's incredible, when they meet up with Bail Organa on Coruscant for a brief second, I did not recognize that was Benjamin Bratt and not Jimmy Smits. I was just like, all I saw was Bail Organa.
Maggie.
It's not... I saw nothing other than Bail Organa.
Jimmy Smits looks completely different.
They look kind of similar.
So does Benicio del Toro
Oh, shit.
and Javier Bardem.
You do not get to... It's not... Don't you dare do this to me, sir. I adore both of those men, but I adore Bail Organa more. So when I watched it, all I saw was Bail Organa. And I was like, oh my God, he's here for a second. Where's Leia? And then afterwards, I was like, wait a minute. That was Benjamin Bratt. Like, it took me a second because all I saw was the character and not the actor, sir. Don't come at me like this. Don't make me sound like this on the internet. I can't financially recover from that. Did you realize that it was...
I did not in the moment realize that was supposed to be...
Ha!
I did not realize that was supposed to be Bail Organa.
Oh! You didn't?
No.
They literally were like, Senator Organa. And he was just like, hey, what's up?
I just saw Benjamin Bratt. I was paying... he came on screen and I was like, hey, that's Benjamin Bratt.
And he came on screen and I was like, that's Bail Organa.
Ever since episode 1 of season 2, I've been thinking to myself, when is Jimmy Smits going to show up?
He's not.
Because I was like, he's in the world right now, still.
But he's a busy man, and there were scheduling difficulties.
And I didn't know that, and I was hoping that he'd make an appearance.
But when they showed, the reason they showed that little clip of, or that little set moment with Bail Organa was to get people kind of prepared, because apparently he has a bigger arc for the rest of the season, right? We get to see more of Bail Organa.
Because I don't think I was listening to anything that was happening. I was just like, oh, it's
Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt.
Anyways, I was like, oh, it's Bale and not the actor playing it. And then I saw TikToks and things afterwards where I was like, wait, that was a different actor? Because I just saw the character. As for the Benicio del Toro and Javier Bardem thing, they look and sound too similar, so don't come at me. And you know what? If you don't see it, if you don't understand,
to me,
the difference,
Benicio del Toro just looks completely different. Sure, there might be different movies that they've done with makeup that maybe made them look a little bit more... I can't tell you why.
They're just the same person in my head. But that's the same with Dylan McDermott and Dermot Mulroney. Like, it all stems from that SNL sketch.
Well, I can tell their faces apart, too. But
for the most part,
matching the name with the guy is harder.
Sometimes hard.
That one's harder.
Yes, and sometimes it's hard for me to match the name with the guy when I'm looking at Benicio del Toro and Javier Bardem.
Okay, I'll give you that. I will say... when it comes to Dermot Mulroney and Dylan McDermott, I know what both men look like, but I probably mess up which name went to.
Which one is which?
Yeah.
Benjamin Bratt, we love you. In Andor, out of Andor, no matter what you do, we love you. So
he's really funny in Miss Congeniality.
I
great.
Haven't seen that.
You've
movie
never seen it? Oh my God.
In so long.
Oh, in so long. Okay, so you have seen it.
I've seen it once.
And you loved it.
I enjoyed it at the time. I think because I saw it once, probably around 2001.
Wow.
So, if that's what you want to watch tonight, I'm totally down.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Look,
somebody
came up to me the other day and was like, it's April 25th. You know what that means, right? And I was like, yes, unfortunately I do, because of the pop cultureness of it all. But I haven't seen that movie in a very long time. So. He was also in Catwoman, which is a giant piece of shit. So.
You and I were just talking about Bill Pullman because we were watching
Spaceballs. Yeah. And we have just watched Lewis Pullman in Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite chick flicks is
While You Were Sleeping. Another film I haven't seen Pullman. In 20 years easily.
But of course, the other reason I like that movie is because I really had a huge crush on her forever. And so I think that's another reason I love Miss Congeniality. But, well, not maybe. Yes, that is another reason. I love Sandra Bullock too. There was a while there where she was in a few too many rom-coms, and I was just like, meh, you know. And also, when it came out in 2000, I was a kid. I didn't have a car, and we lived 40 minutes from the movie theater. We didn't exactly go see every film. She's just she's good in them.
But she's great. No, I'm
like
not saying
2 Weeks
anything.
Notice.
2 Weeks Notice is one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. It's so fucking stupid, and it makes me endlessly happy, even though there's a Trump cameo. Like, I love 2 Weeks Notice. Also, that Lost City of Gold one that she did with Channing Tatum not too long ago was a riot.
Lot of fun.
That movie was great.
Fun and funny.
Fucking Daniel Radcliffe had the time of his life in that film. I love Channing Tatum when he plays a himbo. That should be the only thing he ever does. Is just
him
playing...
and John Cena.
Yeah,
play that.
they should play the dumb himbo all the time.
Great.
Because when you see them in anything else, it's sort of, well, not John Cena. I adore John Cena no matter what. But sometimes Channing Tatum is a little like, he tries for dramatic roles, and I'm like, meh, that's not your forte there, buddy.
But when he's kind of like a dumb...
Yeah, when he's a himbo, it's great.
Moving right along, we've got Alana Ubach.
Plays Mama Imelda. Who does, she's the skeleton of his great grandma?
Two greats, I believe, because his grandmother is the one who
runs around,
her grandmother.
Yes, so his great-great-grandmother.
Great-great-grandmother is played by Alana Ubach.
And she's fantastic. I don't know. They got a lot of. Obviously, they got that entire cast of Hispanic
14
actors.
episodes on Euphoria, and I haven't watched that personally, but have heard nothing but great things.
Oh wait. I think I know who this woman is. I know exactly who this woman is. In Waiting, the waitress that's all sugarly sweet to the face of the customers and in the back is swearing up a storm. Yeah. That was my personal waiting style. When I was a server, like, I'd be like, oh my God, like, tables, you're so nice. I love you. Everything's great. In the kitchen, I was like, fucking, where the fuck is my fucking pasta?
Yeah, that character was great.
Yes, I do know this actress. She's been in Ted. She was in Legally Blonde. She was in Sister Act 2. She's one of those great character actresses.
She just happens to also be in last night's The Last of Us.
Oh.
And next week's as well.
Well, and we haven't watched those yet, so excellent. But she is, just a fantastic character actress. I love the character of Mama Imelda. I think that I love her arc too, because, she had her heart broken when her husband left her to go play music and he never came back. Right. But then when she realizes the story, and even when she tries to start like saving Hector, and, she tells Ernesto, like, don't you touch him. He's the love of my life. And Hector's like, what did you say? And she's like, nothing. This actress, I'm always happy to see her in things. And she is a lovely character actress.
Renee Victor plays Abuelita, which is Spanish for grandmother, I believe. Abuelita. She was in 22 episodes of Weeds with, it's Renee Victor. I mean, she's, if you saw a picture of her,
I'm looking at her right now, yeah.
It's a very familiar face.
They've got a lot of really wonderful Hispanic character actors to voice.
Yeah, people who've been working in the business
for years and years. Yeah.
To people who just started. Like, it's a...
Oh, she was in The Prophecy, too, and The Prophecy 1 is one of my favorite Awful Awesome films.
Even Gabriel Iglesias is in this...
Cheech Marin has a small part, so does Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, a lot of...
my favorite memory, one of my favorite Disney memories, was when we went to what do they call it? It's like the Celebration of the Lights or something around Christmas time, where on Main Street in Disneyland, they have a celebrity guest come out and basically read the story of the nativity, right? Like read the story of the birth of Jesus. And there's choirs and there's candles, and it's a really beautiful, Disney production. Weirdly, obviously Christian, but still, it's this really beautiful thing that they do at Disneyland every year around Christmas time. And the one time we went, Edward James Olmos was the celebrity guest.
Yep.
And that was really fucking cool. And he did a great job.
Great job.
Yeah. And they never say, too, who the guest is going to be. It's just they show up eventually. Like you're sitting there like, oh, who's it going to be? It could be anyone. And then I walked.
Ladies and gentlemen, Edward James Olmos.
And then he came out and started having us chant the Battlestar Galactica so say us all, or so whatever that phrase is.
Yeah, what they say to each other.
Yeah, but it was
Sorry,
it was a very sweet moment, and I'll never forget that. That was when the kids were very young, and it was a cold December day, and we were at Disneyland, and we were there, and it was beautiful. I think it was a little rainy too. Like, it was lovely. John Ratzenberger does have a very small one-line part in this film. I believe the one word is gracias. And the cast is just chock full of great people.
Well, somebody that I wanted to talk about, Natalia Cordova Buckley, she played Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
And she also played one of my favorite characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Yo-Yo Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
She she reminds me a lot of from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Rosa Diaz.
Rosa Diaz. Yeah. Like her energy, especially as Yo-Yo.
Her take no shit attitude. Yeah. I haven't rewatched S.H.I.E.L.D. in a very long time, but I do remember her character being a lot of fun. Wasn't she
Greatest
like really fast? What was her superpower?
Yeah, she's as fast as the Flash, but her kind of back. It's a good and a bad thing. There are times where people took advantage and found her weakness, because she can go a distance forward like in an instant, but she's always has to go back to where she started.
Gotcha.
Like a yo-yo.
Yeah, like a yo-yo. Gotcha.
And so sometimes people take advantage of that by them knowing she has to come back and then hitting her, or whatever, or stabbing her, shooting her. But then there are other things that she can do that are like go into something real fast to do something and be able to get out in time without dying. So it was, but it was less about her power that made her cool and more about just her general attitude and the way her take charge, take no shit kind of attitude.
I adore Frida Kahlo. I adore her art. In fact, we have a wood version of one of her paintings hanging up in our kitchen right now. It's Frida Kahlo, or it's Frida with lovebirds, self-portrait with lovebirds, or whatever it's called. I don't know the name of the actual painting offhand, but it's been hanging up in our kitchen forever. When I was in high school, I think my junior year, it was whenever Frida, the movie, was about to come out, I was visiting my dad, and he took me to the Seattle Art Museum, and there was a entire exhibit of Frida Kahlo paintings there. And walking through that exhibit was one of the most incredible things. Seeing those paintings in person, seeing the colors, seeing the emotion, just kind of took my breath away. And up until that point, the trailer for that movie, I really didn't know much about the woman, and learning about her life through that exhibit and then watching the movie was really something special for me. I love Frida, the movie itself. Salma Hayek does an incredible job. I love the soundtrack. Like, that movie is awesome.
I have never seen that.
What?
So.
Well, now I know what I get to make you watch, because it's a great film. Like, in terms of how it in her life, it's problematic, and her husband was problematic, and there's a lot of like crazy stuff around her existence and the accident that she suffered as a young woman that tortured her for the rest of her life, and her bisexuality and all that. Like, it's a crazy good story. And they did a really, really good job with that movie. And I don't think it got enough acclaim. It got plenty of acclaim, but I felt like it deserved more. But Salma Hayek fucking murders that role. And the soundtrack is so good. Burn It Blue, motherfucker. It's so good. Well, now I know what I'm making you watch.
Great.
Yeah. I say this, having seen most Disney films. And I am not talking about Disney animal characters that are anthropomorphic. So not the ones that can walk and talk. Purely when it comes to animal sidekicks, Dante is in the top 5 of all Disney films. Like Pascal and Max from Rapunzel.
Pascal especially.
The Pascal especially. Like Dante.
I mean, Max is a great horse, but
Max is fucking great. If they were to come out and be like, Max is actually a human being that was cursed and turned into a horse, it would make sense because that motherfucker is insane.
But I'd also be disappointed by that.
A little bit, yeah, because his own special character.
Just being a horse.
Yeah, but Dante is one of my favorite animal. I mean, Pua and the fucking what's the chicken's name? Hey,
yeah.
Yeah, from Moana. Like Belle's horse, Philippe. But like, I love the Disney animal sidekick, but Dante is up there, near the top of my favorite. That actual dog breed does exist. I showed you some pictures of it the other day. That's sort of like, they're very hairless, except for a little bit of hair on the top of their head. They have bad dental genes, so their teeth kind of rot out a lot, and their tongues hang out a lot, which is why he's so like slobbery.
And his tongue is just wrapped around his head.
Yeah. Dante, he cracked me up the entire time. I love that character, and I love that they give, they always give the kid like an animal sidekick who is much more than an animal, but, it's nice to have. And I think that I loved his character.
Yeah, he's a great sidekick,
He's also a spirit guide.
Well, and that's great. I love that Dante got to, because of him helping
I think
Miguel.
he always was the spirit
You think
guide.
so?
I think that was it.
I thought grandmother's beast turned it into, or in that, either turned him into the spirit guide, or in that moment he released
the inner power or something. But how could Dante pass into the land of the dead having not been a spirit guide? I think he always was Miguel's spirit guide, but it was just that he was derpy, right? Because he's a street dog, Sure. Don't name the street dogs, they'll never go away. He was there to lead Miguel on his spiritual quest, even though I think Dante himself didn't know it. I don't think Dante himself knows that he is a spirit guide, but he is. And with his little derpy wings, he's so cute. I was in love with Dante the entire film. I thought he was just so much fun. But I always assumed he was always the spirit guide, because how else could he pass through the land of the dead?
How long, Maggie, do you think you could go without listening to any music at all? Like, you just have to be deprived of it for X amount of time.
Can I sing?
I guess you could.
You can't take the songs out of my head.
Do you think his grandmother would have hit him if he started singing?
But she was. Every time he tried to play music.
Well, play on a guitar, but I'm just talking about singing,
just sitting there singing. Yeah, I think that also wasn't. I'm sure even
so
whistling wasn't.
Yeah, I would say
because you get that montage where she's like, no music, even she's yelling at like the pizza car driving by and the musician or the drunk guys outside.
So any music whatsoever. So we're going house rules.
Yeah.
You get in trouble in some way if you. I'm just wondering how long.
45 minutes? Music's a huge part of my life, and you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I wake up singing. Sometimes I'm trying to fall asleep, Taylor Swift is on a...
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah, fucking you're sitting in front of a giant vinyl collection. I don't... What about you? Because I don't think I could go longer than... I think I could... I would start singing to myself within 45 minutes, and I would get hit by a chancla.
Well,
easily.
let me put it this way. At work...
Yeah.
There have been multiple times where, because they buy cheap parts, parts on our radio system go out, and so there have been times where there's no music in the morning. My 5 to 8 a.m. shift is just quiet, but people can't stand being in that kind of quietness, especially in public. Maybe in their bed or in the privacy of their own home, or being alone. But in a work environment, when you're working, you really desperately want some music. And so we would all start humming or singing our own songs or playing music on our phone next to us. And finally, one of my coworkers brought in
like a
really good Bluetooth speaker so that the entire building could hear the music, and it just made, that was like, as soon as he did that, we're just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that would have driven me crazy. I am always singing to myself at work. I'm walking around I'm walking around singing to myself. If it is not my music on the radio, I'm singing to myself, or I'm singing along with whatever the music is. Sometimes there is no music at my job, like nobody takes over the radio for a certain amount of time, and that silence is nice because like sometimes you need it, right? You have a headache or whatever.
Of course. I've had many a morning where I drive my 20-minute commute to work in complete silence.
Yeah, and sometimes
it's the road, the noise of the road is essentially my white noise.
Sometimes on my commute home, I don't put my headphones on and I just listen to the world around me.
Yeah.
But those are rare. Like when I was serving, which is funny that I've talked about it a lot on this podcast, but when I was serving and like rolling silverware, like my 60 to 100 rolls every day, I would be standing at the little setup, like singing Hamilton songs to myself. You know, it was always satisfied. It was always satisfied. I was raised in a home that put music first. I could not, if somebody came up to me and said, music is banned from your life, you can no longer sing. If you start singing to yourself, you're in trouble. 45 minutes and I'm fucked. And that's at most. So I just couldn't do it. I couldn't live in that. Where I would be Miguel out there in Mariachi Plaza, which, by the way, is there any music more joyful than mariachi music? We went to our children's, one of our child's multicultural night at their middle school the other day. And first of all, my middle school would have never put something on like that on.
No.
Absolutely not.
Especially mine, because there was no different cultures.
No, it was just
I think it was
white Christians.
All just white Christians, yeah.
Your multicultural night was like the birth of Jesus. But we were at this multicultural night. There was a ton of great food from all over the world.
Oh,
there were
good food.
You know, there were dances from Pacific Islanders. There was dances from a little girl who is from the Philippines. And then they brought on a mariachi band. And it was just so much fun. And like it was a 5-piece mariachi band, but
seeing
still
them show
walk
up,
in,
seeing them show up with dressed
great
from
costumes,
head to toe,
those pure white shoes,
beautiful shoes,
like,
the detail going down their pants and shirts, the instruments like 2 violins,
that bass
guitar, which I love the way those things are shaped,
a trumpet and another guitar,
and just like a basic
guitar. And every
acoustic.
single one of those people got to go up and sing. In fact, they were kind of holding off on one of the violin players because she sang like an angel.
Yeah, she was the shortest, tiniest of the 5 of them.
Yeah, and she walked up to the mic and just blew away.
Like I think she was the loudest of the 5 of them.
And it
louder
was,
than the trumpet.
And you and I were just sitting there like, yay, clapping along, singing along, just having the time of our lives. Meanwhile, our child sitting next to us with his headphones on, just ignoring everything in the world.
Ignoring everything.
Because he's in middle school and middle schoolers suck.
He's
but
got feelings. Yeah,
but like it was just great. I love mariachi music, and I just anytime, I'm wandering through town and there's a mariachi band. You stop and you listen to it. It's just pure joy for me. And if I lived in that world, if I lived in Santa Cecilia, right? Santa Cecilia, I think is the name of the town. I would have been in Mariachi Plaza getting in trouble by my abuelita because it's throwing a chancla at my head. Now go get my shoe.
I love that. Go get my shoe.
I absolutely adore. And it goes back to just loving Hispanic culture and Mexican culture. One of the things that this movie touches on that kind of hurts my soul a lot is that although I have heard a lot of stories about my ancestors, I don't know a lot about my ancestors. As a white mutt, right, we're a mixture of all things and nothing. You know, I know that my last name has German heritage. I know that there's some French Canadian there. I know there's some Scottish and Irish. And I know that my grandmother, my mamu, on my mom's side, was half Mexican. And she was given up for adoption because when she was born, because, I don't think the birth was, I don't fully know the story, but she was given up for adoption. She was adopted by a white couple. She was white passing, and her Mexican side was just not addressed, not acknowledged, in no way was it addressed. Which then makes my mom a quarter Mexican, and I'm as white as a lily. I'm so fucking, I burn the second I see the sun. But, maybe I would like to think that maybe there's a little bit of that love for that culture that's in my veins, right? That want for ancestral bond. But that's the other thing too, is I want a bond with my ancestors. I don't feel like I have it the way that other cultures and other families do. I'm
extremely jealous of pretty much all cultures.
All cultures, yeah, because
I have my American culture to essentially celebrate 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any family.
And we're not even that patriotic.
My family traditions, other than, when I was younger, there were religious traditions.
Yeah.
But as far as my family traditions go, it's mainly just like Thanksgiving and Christmas is like what you do with the family. That's the only time the family got together, or birthdays.
Yeah.
Very American, not really denominationally specific. We weren't Catholic, so we didn't even do those kind of traditions.
And Catholicism's just witchcraft. It's just witchcraft under the guise of don't make that face. It is all the fucking incense and the chanting and the blessing, the sacrament.
That's the original Christian religion, though.
Yeah,
that's all
it's all
saying.
stolen from Richard. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, I mean, I have friends that know that their family came from, like the Netherlands, so they take part in that sort of culture, right? Or like Jessie, she's got her Swiss culture. She's got her, European Alpine culture. And she's got her family that she can trace back through Germany and Switzerland for, a ways. Like, and she has that culture, that food, that decor, that lifestyle, right? But we didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up with rock and roll music, barbecue, and re-roofing houses at the age of 14. There is no culture. And we have our traditions with our own kids, right? Because as a family, we were able to make our own traditions. Yeah. But there's still birthdays, holidays.
They're still very based off of the ones that we were already doing.
And
we didn't start anything new, really.
And it would feel wildly inauthentic to, say, have a big Cinco de Mayo celebration or a big St. Patrick's Day celebration or anything, because we are not enough of any of those cultures to be
we don't participate really in a lot of that. And
then there's cultures that I love, like the Indian culture. You love Japanese culture. Our child fucking is obsessed with Chinese culture at the moment. Like, we have so much respect and love for other cultures and their celebrations and their foods and their music, but we can only take part in it so much before we're starting to look like posers or it gets weirdly borderline slightly racist. So it does suck a little bit to not have a familiar culture that we get to be a part of, right? Because we are, like I said, we're all things and no things in terms of our blood. And I kind of want to do, like one of those
like
genetic tests. But at the same
whatever.
time, I don't want the government to have my DNA these days, especially these fucking days. Oh my God. Like, I do not trust the security of those data banks. But, of my family that has done it, it's always just, we're a mixture of everything and nothing. I remember around last October, on TikTok, there were a lot of white TikTokers going on and being like, I would like to make an ofrenda. I would like to set up a space to celebrate my ancestors, for the Day of the Dead, but I am not Hispanic. Is it okay? And then there were Hispanic TikTokers that were coming up that were like, actually, yeah, it is okay. As long as you do it with respect and love, here's how you do it. And I kept seeing these videos and I kept being like, oh man, that's really fucking beautiful. And I would love to make an ofrenda for my grandparents, for your grandparents, for our aunts and uncles that we have lost, for our friends that we love that we have lost, to celebrate them. I love the marigolds. I love the idea of the food and the alcohol that you present gifts to that your loved ones as a way of saying, please come visit me. Because that's all I want. I want to visit. Half of my family gets visits from my grandpa in their dreams, and that motherfucker has come and seen me like twice, and I don't even know if it was really him. I miss him, and I want him to come visit me in my wild-ass dreams, but he's never there. And before I start crying, because it's starting to perk at the back of my eyes, I I would love to make an ofrenda for our family members. I would love to do it out of respect of not only the culture that it comes from, but for my loved ones that are gone. I just don't trust that producer Robin wouldn't fucking destroy it.
Nah.
So, which is another reason why I've never created an altar in this space, is because I'm just like, he would destroy it. He would be like Dante eating the food off of the.
He's already destroyed everything else I loved.
Yeah,
so.
including the back of my neck. Yeah. So, all of this to say, I would love to be able to partake in that one day and set up an ofrenda out of respect and love for the culture that it comes from, and for my grandparents and my friends. Is Ernesto's betrayal on par with the prince from Frozen? Like, do we see that betrayal coming? Because we think the entire movie that Ernesto de la Cruz is Miguel's great-great-grandfather. And then you find out that, he actually killed.
He was poisoned.
Yeah, that he actually killed Hector, and he's not the grandfather. He's a betrayer.
Yeah.
Is that on par with Prince Hans? Like,
where you are introduced to a character that you believe is going to be like the
good
hero,
guy and the hero, and it turns out
that he's the villain.
What do you think is the more like? Because I remember watching Frozen, and when Hans turns out to be the betrayer, you're like,
gasp.
Is that on? Do you think that Ernesto's...
That's pretty on par? Like,
yeah.
I think part of me was like, something's fishy, but I don't know how. I don't remember when I first watched this movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I caught on. It was probably before it was revealed to Miguel that I caught on, but it definitely wasn't immediate, and it probably took a while. I feel like the Hans one was a good one.
I feel like the Hans one was the first, so it was a lot more shocking.
Sure, but I wasn't expecting it again.
No.
Especially from Pixar.
No, and so I feel like they are at least on par with each other. I remember seeing this movie in theater with you. I remember walking out of it devastated and crying, and then I think we went and got pho because it was a cold day and we were just like, But I don't remember how I felt about the actual betrayal when it happened. But as I was watching it this time around, I was like, I wonder.
One of my favorite shots in the movie.
Yeah.
Other than, I mean, obviously the big reveal of the afterlife and the city and the lights and the cable cars like moving around in the background, and then again later when they're on one of the cable cars and you're seeing everything them move through the city. It's all the imagery is amazing, and even the party at night, that whole celebration, everything
beautiful.
happening over there, that party was, I mean, the whole movie's beautiful, and it's hard to pick a really neat shot, but one of my favorite moments, camera-wise, because we don't get much of this in animation, and I think it was during the scene when Hector and Miguel get to that kind of like, I guess it's like a village on a river or a bayou or something.
Where all like the unwanted souls or the forgotten souls are.
Before they meet the guy with where he gets his
Chicharron.
Chicharron. But
those aren't the lyrics. There's a child here.
But when they arrive, they're walking down the dock.
Yeah.
And the way the camera, almost as if there's a cameraman holding that camera, walking with them, but it's like kind of a one shot where the camera just stays on the characters as they walk down, and like your surroundings are moving past you, and it becomes very three-dimensional walking through a town like that in a animated. I mean, you're used to it when you're playing a video game, and it just doesn't happen very often in. Yeah,
you don't get a lot of like tracking shots. That is a beautiful sequence, and I kind of love that. That's where that the forgotten souls have formed their own family. Essentially, everybody's auntie and uncle, everybody's cousin, and that's where they kind of go to have each other, so that they're not alone until they're forgotten and they drift away, which is so sad,
right?
And so beautiful. One last question for you.
Yeah.
I guess maybe a couple. First of all, I want to talk about music and the power of memory because, I think that they say that smell is the most powerful connection to memory. I feel like music's the second. Because sometimes you hear a song and you are immediately taken back to a time and a place. I can hear, a Big Bad Voodoo Daddy song I like say their song, You Know You Wrong, and immediately I am back at a Big Bad Voodoo Daddy concert with my friend Jenny singing in that song in the pit, 5 feet from the stage, laughing and dancing and singing that song at each other. Or I can hear a Who song and imagine my dad in the backyard tinkering away on something with the smell of sawdust in the air. I can hear the Royal Crown Review's version of Beyond the Sea, and I see us dancing in our apartment after our tiny little wedding. And I love that about music. The fact that music is what brings Mama Coco back, right? Miguel playing Remember Me to his grandmother the way her dad used to.
Because she was not responding to anything else that was happening.
No, she was slipping away.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he brought her back to life, and he brought Hector back to life through her memory with music.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. I wonder what songs our children will I kind of know what songs our eldest is going to think of when it comes to us, or me, right? Specifically, I know a couple songs that will forever be in their life because of us. But, music is a powerful memory conductor, and I love that. And speaking of music, what's your favorite song from Coco?
Remember me. No, not that one.
For me, and again, it will be because of the memory of it, it's Un Poco Loco.
What color is the sky? Ay, mi amor, ay, mi amor. You tell me that it's red, ay, mi amor.
See, that is such a fun song.
It's such a fun song, but watching because our son watched it with us and watched Coco with us when we were watching it, and back in elementary school at one of the many, and I mean awful, I fucking hated going to elementary school kids like spring concerts.
Well, because you had to watch
all the classes.
Every class.
I know, and you're just like, I'm waiting for one,
watch,
especially when our child's like in the 5th grade, and you have to get through every single other thing.
Kindergarten through 4th before you even get to your
And you
kid.
feel bad for sitting there making fun of like the kids to your partner or spouse, but like it's the only way to entertain yourself, to be like, oh God,
you're like, look, this is the 6th year we've been here.
Yeah. We had to go to
make
so
fun
many
of some
of
kids.
those. Oh God, they were all absolutely terrible. But nonetheless, his class, I think in 4th grade, sang that song. And then so while it was playing, and I'd forgotten that, but while it was playing on the movie, our kid pops up and starts singing along with it. But just watching him like bounce around the couch singing that song was so pure and sweet that it instantly became like, that's my favorite song from Coco. Like that's the one I'm going to put on some soundtrack or a playlist. Like that's the one for me.
I mean, Un Poco Loco is great. It's mainly because it's a perfect. To me, it represents like a perfect. Like this is how much fun this kind of music can be. It's one of those songs. Like it's a perfect example about how great that music can be and how much fun it can be to celebrate and dance to. Was it Proud Corazon, the one that he was singing to? Chicharron?
Everyone knows Juanita. That's the song.
Okay. That makes more sense.
That's a really cute song for sure.
I mean,
The World Is Mi Familia is also a really cute song. And obviously Remember Me is the devastating.
It is the devastating song.
It's the devastation. You can't.
But it is a really good song.
Yeah.
And when they played it at
the Hollywood Bowl.
They did the because it's different. The way they arranged it was different than the movie, but it's really good.
We didn't talk about if Coco won any awards.
You're right. How did I skip that?
Yeah. Why don't we get that really fast and then we can shut it down, so to speak.
Well, of course, Coco won awards.
Yeah.
2 at the Oscars, 1 for Remember Me. A movie, Mudbound, had a song called Mighty River performed by Mary J. Blige. I remember her performing it. I remember I watched this Oscars. Mystery of Love from Call Me By Your Name, which by Sufjan Stevens, who I love as an artist, but we haven't watched Call Me By Your Name yet.
No, it's coming up.
So we will,
in one of the next 11 episodes.
So we will know what that song was when we watch that one. And Marshall, the movie Marshall, had one called Stand Up for Something. And The Greatest Showman was nominated for This Is Me.
I'm I'm really glad The Greatest Showman didn't get it, because This Is Me is a great song, but it has nothing on Remember Me. And I will go to my grave with the hard-held opinion that The Greatest Showman is a terrible film.
Man, people love it, though.
People fucking love that movie. But the entire time, I was like, why are we supporting this asshole? He sucks. But This Is Me, and then the song that Zendaya and fucking what's-his-face sing together is divine. But those are only the two parts. That movie upsets me to my core. But, people love it, so what are you going to do?
Of course, Coco won Best Animated Feature that year. It was up against The Boss Baby, The Breadwinner, Ferdinand, and Loving Vincent. Loving Vincent's the only one I think I
Loving
recognize.
Vincent was about Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of those except
Ferdinand,
for Coco.
Breadwinner, yeah, Boss Baby, I didn't even bother
Yeah,
seeing.
no, fucking goddamn it. Boss Baby.
So, way to go, Coco.
That was one of the years that they were like, it's going to be Coco, but we can't nominate one film. So, I guess Boss Baby.
Boss Baby, I guess. It's like, really? There was nothing else? Michael Giacchino got a Saturn Award for Best Music. Mm-hmm. Coco also won a Saturn Award for Best Animated Film.
Wait, 2017? So it'd be the 2018 Best Score Oscar 2018.
It got the BAFTA for Best Animated Feature film.
Oh, went to The Shape of Water. Yeah.
What did?
The Best Original
Best
Music Score.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, Critics' Choice, it won Best Animated Feature and Best Song Remember Me. It was a massive hit financially, critically, award-y. 112 awards.
Oh, good for them. Best original score that year went to The Shape of Water, Alexander Desplat. Also up for it was Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, The Last Jedi, and 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. So
There were only 42 awards it didn't win.
Well,
but it won 112.
Yeah, because it was great.
It was a
So
great
Coco,
one.
we love it.
Yeah, 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. Absolutely. It's, it is forever devastating, and I might not watch it that often. Like, it might be a movie I watch after someone dies. And
Jesus.
I know, right? Because I need to
That's
cry more.
dark.
I don't see a point. I don't see any point in my life that I am sitting around with 2 hours to kill, and I think to myself, I'm going to watch Coco.
It's the music, the imagery, the family.
Phenomenal film, head to toe.
But that's why you watch it again, because you want to just see that.
I don't want to.
You want to see that all.
Try that hard.
No, it's worth it.
See, and then I'd rather kind of watch Encanto, because it's all kind of it's not the same story, but it's very similar in terms of family and expectations and the music. Could you imagine if Lin-Manuel Miranda had his hand at Coco?
I mean, the music would definitely be different, but also still good.
It still would have been good, but I don't know.
It wouldn't have sounded the same. There probably would have been too many of his songs with his voice.
Yes, and they're not always.
They're not always fantastic.
No.
And his voice leading those songs isn't always my favorite.
No.
I would rather him just write the songs and somebody else perform them.
Well, like in the Encanto.
Like in the content.
Yeah. But anyways, 5 stars for Coco. We love it forever. Great job, Disney.
Amen. So, Maggie.
Yes, Caveman.
I have 2 questions for you.
Hit it. Oh, this is a long one. Oh my god, is this him playing banjo? Is this him playing the banjo? That's him playing the banjo, isn't it?
That was him playing the banjo, the classic guitar, and the drums.
Wait, what? That was all 3 of him?
It was all 3 recorded and then put on.
Where did you find that?
Layered on top of the internet. That is a little ad that he did for Brioni.
Oh yeah.
Which is a
Brioni, the clothing line. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually. Are you sure that's him playing all three of those things?
Yeah. The video, he's in the ad and
video.
he's doing all of unless he was faking all of everything.
He's not. No, he learned.
I know he knows how to play guitar.
Yeah, and he learned how to play the banjo for the sign in
So the only
Sydney
thing left
Bart's
is hitting
window.
some sticks like very softly just to keep the
I
beat.
love him so much.
So,
I was wondering as soon as you were about to hit that button, I was like, if he doesn't use Oscar singing, it's a lost opportunity. Or making some sort of music. Oh my god! He has talked about wanting to release an album, but being too busy with acting, and all of us are like, "Please release an album, Oscar, please!" Because I have some of his songs on my phone from soundtracks and stuff. Inside Llewyn Davis, 10 Years, fucking Sucker Punch. But like, I love him so much.
I think the man is acting.
So talented.
I think the man is acting while he can act.
Yeah.
And he's going to be another one of those actors who goes off and starts doing musical albums later in his career.
Why is Oscar Isaac not in a musical? Why has this man not been casted in a fucking musical or a Disney?
That's a good point. That's a good point. The man can sing. The man can dance.
He is so charming. He plays
that
any
would
instrument.
Be something that he's in line to do, and maybe he is.
Oh God, I would die a happy death.
Or maybe somebody has approached him, but it wasn't the right musical that he wanted to do.
You know what? Maybe so, but like, give it to me. If he's not going to come back as Moon Knight.
Anyway, Maggie.
Yeah. Would
the presence of Oscar Isaac's voice have made the movie Coco a better film? I think the answer is fuck yeah.
Well, yeah, but he's not Mexican. He's Guatemalan.
No, and I get it.
And I think they hired a predominantly Mexican cast because the story does take place in Mexico. But even
fine, if you wanted to
and Guatemala also celebrate the Day of the Dead, so I guess I
completely understand if they wanted to keep it. This is taking place in Mexico. We're gonna have Mexican actors.
Yes,
I get it. But he could have nailed any one of those.
He could have nailed any one of those parts. Yes. So the answer is I don't think it would have made the film better, but I would have loved to have had him there. You know, but I'm glad that they stuck to a predominantly Mexican cast. I think that that's a beautiful thing because they were celebrating Mexican culture, so they hired Mexican people to do it. So I don't think it would have made it better. It wouldn't have made me love the movie anymore. But yes, I would have loved to have heard him in it, especially singing. What character would he play? Ernesto de la Cruz. Nothing against Benjamin Bratt, but I think Oscar would have been so much fun in that role, and it would have been great to see him and Gael kind of like act off of each other. I don't think you could replace Hector and Gael at all. I think they're just perfect for each other. And then like nobody else really has as chunky or as meaty as a part in terms of the male voice actors, you know, because a lot of the female voice actors have bigger parts. Like Mama Imelda has a huge part. Yeah, I would have loved to have. I would have loved to have heard Oscar's take on Ernesto de la Cruz. I think that would have been a ton of fun. I would have loved hearing him do all of those like dumb lines from the movies that he's in, and the more like jazzed up, like funky version of Remember Me would have been divine. So yeah, that's the role I would have picked for sure. I think he would have been wonderful in it. But if they want,
that's the wonderful thing about this podcast is we can put him in whichever film we want.
We can there at any time, at any age. But why can't we put him in a musical?
You can in your dreams.
He needs to be in one in real life, though. Why is that not happening? And that has been this week's episode of Movie Mingle on the wonderful film Coco, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Next week's episode is going to be so much fun because we get to watch Black Panther, motherfucker! I love going to Wakanda. I love that film. I love the whole cast. It's going to be just a lot of us gushing over what a great fucking film it is and crying about our loss of our beloved Chadwick Boseman. Oh God, I miss him so much. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun episode, and we hope you turn in for that. As ever, you can follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at MovieMinglePod. You can write us at movieminglepod@gmail.com, and you can find us on YouTube at MovieMinglePodcast. And you know what? Reach out to us, guys, because we've been doing a lot of this, and we love you, and we love hearing from our fans. We've got 11 episodes left, which is insane to me. So insane to me. I can't believe we've made it this far, but I'm very proud of us, and thank you for being along on the journey. Please take care of yourselves until next week. Go out into this big wide world and share love and fun. And until next time, just remember me and go mingle. Bye.
Are you an effective team?
We are an effective team.
Let them fight.
How did you just do that?
I'm a really good lawyer.
Here on Caladan, we've ruled by air power and sea power. On Arrakis, we need to cultivate desert power.
Welcome, Mr. Beach. What's that bar? I'm a little confused.
Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. What is that?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Toga, 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 toga.